Natasha and Her Illegitimate Child in a Muslim Society. A novel by Dr. A. Ahmed. This is an intriguing epic story which resonates with love, resilience, courage, and sacrifice. Before we dive into the tapestry of the story, I would like to remind the reader that this novel has been narrated in 2 books. Book 2. Copyrights. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author, except by a reviewer, who may quote brief paragraphs for a review to be printed in a public newspaper, general magazine, school journal, or university article. This novel is a work of fiction, but the entire story is based on the real life of a Muslim family. All names, characters, places, and events are either the product of the author's imagination or used literary. Therefore, any resemblance to actual people, living or dead, events, or locales is merely coincidental. Chapter 25. The Stoning of the Adulterous Sudanese Wife. The stoning ground is in an open area which can be seen from the building where Dr. Nadia and her husband Sammy are living. The couple decided to witness the stoning from the window of their apartment and videotape it. They know it would be hard for them to watch that barbaric and cruel punishment of an innocent young woman, still they decided to watch it so that they could expose it in the future to the outside world when they return to Canada. Dr. Nadia has brought with her a very sharp and powerful camera that could shoot an event from an exceedingly far distance. On the stoning day, her camera has captured the brutal stoning as if she is watching it from a remarkably close distance. She used her camera to shoot a video. At the same time, her husband Sammy used another camera to take some photos of the same cruel stoning. This is how the camera of Dr. Nadia videotaped the stoning. Around 12:45 p.m., the execution ground is crowded with men dressed in white garments, and all of them have long beards and somber and angry faces. Dr. Nadia could distinguish Sudanese men from other men due to their black color and big white turbans. They are males, big as well as small. Even male children have been brought there by their fathers or big brothers. They looked like monsters and worshippers of Lucifer. None of them appeared as a holy man who is worshipping a true and living deity. There are with them their small male children who are dressed up in their traditional clothes, which look like pajamas and appear like little white demons just like their devilish fathers and brothers. None of those kids is smiling or have a childlike face. They also look like small angry evil spirits. Shortly after the gathering of the so-called faithful men and children of Allah, the condemned adulterous wife has been brought by a police car. She is handcuffed and her legs are securely fastened by chains. She is dressed up in a black abaya and niqab which covered her entire body. When they dragged her out of the car, she is shaking, screaming, and calling for help. She is begging the Saudi police officers to spare her life. None of them seemed to heed her crying and pleading. A couple of policemen dragged her like an animal until they brought her to the middle of the crowd. There is already a hole that has been dug for her burial. Then the Arab policeman forcibly inserted her resisting body inside that hole. Some men came and buried her until her neck. Only her neck and head are visible while the rest of her body is completely buried underground. It is 48 degrees Celsius when the poor Siham has been buried up to her neck in the hot sand of the Sahara Desert. The heat of the sun and the hot sand have scorched her body, causing 75% second-degree burns to her flesh, and she is screaming louder and louder. Underneath the black abaya, she is sweating and burning like steam boiling inside a tea kettle. It might have been more tolerable to put her in a furnace than to bury her in the hot sand. They do not need to stone her to death, for if they have left her just 1 hour in the hot dry ground, she would have been cooked alive instead. After that, her face is uncovered so that everyone could see her. She is also expected to see those people who have gathered around her to stone her to death. Then those policemen have forcefully tore the black niqab from her face. They are like 2 wolves tearing out the flesh of an innocent lamb. When she has been uncovered, her face is shining like the sun. She has appeared as the most beautiful young Sudanese girl ever created by God in that backward Muslim land. She has an exceptionally white complexion, as if she is the daughter of a white woman and a Sudanese father. She has exceedingly long black hair. Through her beautiful face, one could see a very frightened young woman. In the meantime, the condemned girl Siham continued to scream and call for help. She even called upon the names of Allah and her Prophet Muhammad to come and rescue her from that cruel and painful death. But neither Allah come from his black house in Makkah city, nor did her Prophet Muhammad have resurrected from his grave in Medina city. No one among her executioners and her Sudanese people has shown pity towards her. In their balconies, many Sudanese black burqa-clad women gathered in groups of 2s and 3s to witness the stoning event. They are standing like scary black ghosts on the windows of their apartments and looking as if they are watching a happy wedding celebration. Some of them are using long-range observation binoculars to see the stoning. None of them seem to pity the victim girl. Even their small underage girls have been made to watch such brutal stoning. Shortly after her burial inside that hot sand, an old man who looked like Iblis the devil came forward and shouted Allah Akbar thrice, and cast the first 3 stones on the head of Siham. 1 stone missed her and the other 2 hit her face and head. Then the old man retreated to his place in the lined-up men, who formed a half-circle around their victim. As soon as the old man reached his place, the other men began to cast their stones on the bleeding face and the gravely injured head of Siham. The stones started to hit her from all directions, and the blood gushed out of her face and head like a liquid of red acid. In the beginning, her head kept circling in all directions, desperately trying to avoid the stones. However, the stones, like a hail of heavy rain, are falling on her. Siham felt like a dump truck had dumped tons of cement with heavy stones on her face. She also feels like hundreds of sharp long nails have been forcefully hammered inside her head. Her eyes have bobbed out of their sockets and all her teeth have been broken and fallen out of her copiously bleeding mouth. The white marrow of her head came out of her brain. Her nose has been broken and become flattened and completely closed, and she can no longer breathe. Her screaming and groaning have stopped and can no longer be heard due to the shouting of the Muslim of Allah in unison, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. They are all hard-hearted like those terrorists of ISIS who rejoiced in the beheading of their hapless victims. The victim's head stopped moving and fell backward, which showed that her neck had been broken by those heavy big stones. Although the head became lifeless, still the cruel men continued to throw their stones until they made a big heap over their victim. After all the stones had been thrown at the head of Siham, the police authority announced through handheld mics with loudspeakers that the stoning should cease. Then a group of cops came and removed the stones. When all the stones are removed, Siham's face becomes marred and completely disfigured. No one who saw her face before her execution could believe it was the same beautiful, angelic face. It is covered with blood and smashed. Its mouth lost all its teeth, and its head lost its long hair. Her toothless mouth is opened as if it is the jaws of a deadly shark. The blood is still profusely running from her face and head. Even her black clothes have been torn into bits and pieces, exposing her buried and dug out the body. The hot sand of the Sahara Desert caused so many burns on her delicate skin. It is too graphic to describe in detail the miserable condition of the cruelly executed victim, the late Siham. During the cruel and barbaric stoning of Siham, Dr. Nadia and her husband Sammy were continuously weeping and the tears running from their eyes and falling on their cheeks like hot acid. When she saw the horrific face of Siham after the stones have been removed from it, Dr. Nadia collapsed on her knees and began to cry in loud voice. Finally, the dead body of the cruelly executed young woman has been dragged like a slaughtered animal and placed on a stretcher and carried away. The crowd dispersed as soon as the dead body had been cleared from the crime scene. While they are leaving, they are conversing with each other as if they are discussing a wonderful sport game they have just watched together. Even their female counterparts have remained standing on their windows, talking and laughing. Some wicked Sudanese women clapped their hands, shouted ululations of joy, and cheered to their men who supposedly have carried out the judgment of the exalted Allah and his holy prophet Muhammad on the so-called evil and dirty bitch who spoiled the bright name of Sudan. Chapter 26. 7 Lawful Adulterous Relationships in Islam. The cruel death of Siham made Dr. Hassan to feel terribly guilty. He held himself responsible for the painful punishment of her lover too. The Saudi newspapers mentioned that the adulterer Hisham has been flogged 100 lashes on his naked back, and he has become a severe handicapped young man and moving in wheelchair. He has been shipped back to Sudan, and he is banned from returning to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia forever, and his name has been placed in the blacklist. Even he is not allowed to come as a pilgrim during the annual Hajj rituals. Dr. Hassan knew it was he who came in between that pure and sincere love of those brutally punished lovers and separated them forever. He should have asked Siham whether she has a male lover or not before he agreed to get married to her. He did not even talk to her prior to their marriage. Being his cousin, he thought she would accept him because it is a common custom in Sudan that the girl should marry her cousin, and no good girl is supposed to go against it. However, what happened after their marriage proved that Siham remained faithful to her lover until that cost her life. Dr. Hassan found himself for the first time having doubt about the punishment of an adulterous person in Islam. Why should Islam prescribe such a cruel punishment for adultery? For him, the punishment seemed to be crueler than the crime itself. That innocent doubt turned into a serious thinking about the concept of marriage and adultery in Islam. He knows that in Saudi Arabia, every man has at least 2 to 3 wives. Some of the princes of the royal family boasted about the big number of women that they slept with. Some of them married over 100 women. For example, King Fahd said in an interview by a foreign magazine that he married 200 women, but he never kept more than 4 wives at a time. Dr. Hassan asked himself why Islam allows the Muslim man to sleep with any number of women he wants and punishes the woman who dared to sleep with her lover while she is having a husband. Is not that same as the man who had a wife and go and take another woman and sleep with her? Why Islam allowed the man to practice polygamy and denied the practice to the woman? The last question led Dr. Hassan to reflect on the sanctioning of sexual relation in Islam. Muslim men are allowed through history to practice various ways of sex with women. Dr. Hassan remembered that one day he heard the imam of the mosque speaking about the lawful sexual relations between men and women in Islam. The imam said there are 7 lawful relations through which the Muslim men are permitted to have sex with women. 1. Monogamous marriage. A lawful relationship between one man and one woman. Quran, Surah Al-Nisa 4, verse 3. Marriage is defined as a permanent, immediate, and unconditional civil contract, which is not contingent, between 2 persons of opposite sex for mutual enjoyment and procreation of children. Varma 1988, page 56. As we shall see soon, this definition doesn't apply to the concept of marriage in Islam. The 2 concerned persons who sign the marriage contract in Muslim countries are not the husband and wife. According to Shafi and Maliki Sharia schools, a woman is utterly incompetent to enter into a marriage contract either herself or for another, even though her guardian should authorize her to do so. A father can give in marriage to any man his virgin daughter without asking her consent, whatever her age. Varma 1988, page 24. There are no specific minimum age limitations in marriage in Islam. This is because the Prophet Muhammad had married Aisha at the age of 6 and slept with her when she was 9 years old. The Quran allows the girl to get married before she reaches the age of having her menstruation. See Surah Al-Talaq 65, verse 4. 2. Polygamy. A lawful relationship between one man and more than one woman, not to exceed 4 wives at the same time. Quran, Surah Al-Nisa 4, verse 3. 3. Sex with female slaves and captives of war. A lawful sexual relation between the man and his female slaves without marrying them. The same above verse, Quran, Surah Al-Nisa 4, verse 3, allows the Muslim men to have sex with their female slaves and captive women taken in war. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, the Apostle of Allah, may peace be upon him, sent a military expedition to Adas on the occasion of the Battle of Hunain. They met their enemy and fought with them. They defeated them and took them captives. Some of the companions of the Apostle of Allah, may peace be upon him, were reluctant to have intercourse with the captives in the presence of their husbands who were unbelievers. Therefore, Allah, the Exalted, sent down the Quranic verse, and all married women are forbidden unto you save those captives whom your right hands possess. Sunan Abu Dawud, page 2150. According to this verse, which is mentioned in Surah Al-Nisa 4, verse 24, Allah has allowed men to rape their captive women without the sanctity of the marriage bonds. Is this a holy God or a wicked pimp? Another companion of the Prophet, a man by the name Maharis, said, I entered the mosque and saw Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. I sat with him and asked about withdrawing the penis while having intercourse. Abu Sa'id said, we went out with the Apostle of Allah, may peace be upon him, on the battle of Banu al-Mustalik, and took some Arab women captive, and we desired the women, for we were suffering from the absence of our wives, and we wanted ransom. So, we intended to withdraw the penis, while having intercourse with the slave women. But we asked ourselves, can we draw the penis when the Apostle of Allah, may peace be upon him, is among us before asking him about it? So, we asked him about it. He said, it does not matter if you do not. Sunan Abu Dawud, page 2167. 4. Child marriage. Islam allows men to marry and have sex with underage girls. The Prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her while she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years, till his death. Sahih al-Bukhari, Book 62, Hadith number 89. That means the founder of Islam had raped a child of 9 years of age. Therefore, no Muslim scholar or religious leader could raise an objection if a Muslim man married and raped an underage girl. Even the Quran supports and permits the marriage of the underage girls who have not yet begun to menstruate. The Quran says, such of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, for them the prescribed period, if you have any doubts, is 3 months, and for those who have not yet reached the age of having their menses, it is the same for those who carry life within their wombs. Their period is until they deliver their burdens, and for those who fear Allah, He will make their path easy. Surah Al-Talaq 65, verse 4. The commentator Ibn Kathir explains the above verse as follows. There is 3 kinds of women. 1. Those who are grown old and their period ceased. 2. Those small girls who do not yet have their menses. The old women and the underage girls who have not yet menstruated, if they got married and divorced, they must stay 3 months before they can remarry. The third type of women are those who still have their periods or are pregnant. Those women, if they got married and divorced, they must stay 3 months and 10 days before they remarry. 5. The enjoyment marriage. A temporary lawful relationship between a man and a woman. The relationship could be 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 days. The enjoyment marriage does not require a judge or witnesses. The man has to say to the woman, I marry you myself, and she has to say to him, I marry you myself. Before having sex, the man must pay a certain amount of money to the girl for allowing him to enjoy her private parts or holy pussy. This is nothing except another form of prostitution that has been clothed up by the attire of divinity. This kind of marriage is different from ordinary marriages because it does not aim at a continuous married life, but the sexual enjoyment in a halal way. It was permitted by the Prophet, but abolished by the second Caliph, Omar ibn al-Khattab. The Shiite sect argues that because this kind of marriage is permitted by the Quran, in Surah Al-Nisa 4, verse 24, the Caliph Omar had no legal right to abolish it. According to the Sharia, no one has the right to abrogate any verse from the Quran after the death of the Prophet. Mutta marriage is unlawful in Sunni Islam, but practiced until today by the Shiite Muslims. In Iran, it is estimated that over 70% of temporary wives become prostitutes. Woodsmall 1983, page 119. 6. Misyar marriage. Al-Misyar marriage institution in Islam allows for a lesser form of relationship between man and woman than normal marriage. Al-Misyar is an official relationship between man and woman, but does neither require that the two stay together, nor that the man is economically responsible for his wife. Al-Misyar allows the man to have a normal wife in addition to his wives. The Misyar wife is expected to live with her parents, and her husband can visit her according to a predetermined schedule. Al-Misyar marriage has been practiced in Saudi Arabia and Egypt for years. The Egyptian Sunni Imam Sheikh Mohammed Sayed Tantawi and the former Mufti of Egypt officially legalized it in February 1999 and has also been defending the arrangement of Misyar. 7. The seventh marriage in Islam is the marriage of the 72 virgins in paradise. It is called Iris al-Shahid, or the marriage of the martyr. Many young Muslim men every year blow their bodies up in bits and pieces, believing that they will die as martyrs and go to paradise to enjoy sex with those 72 lovely virgins. The Quran and Hadiths describe their beauties in remarkable ways. We shall wed them unto huri girls, fair ones with wide, lovely eyes. Quran, Surah Al-Dukhan 44, verse 54. Therein maidens resting their glances, untouched before them by any man or jinn, lovely as rubies, beautiful as coral. Quran, Surah Al-Rahman 55, verses 56 to 58. The fair, the beautiful ones, virgins, with large eyeballs, kept close in their pavilions. Quran, Surah Al-Rahman 55, verse 72. And maidens of swelling breasts, Kuwaib, like of the same age, and a cup overflowing. Quran, Surah Al-Muzammil 73, verse 33. Kuwaib means the woman who has big breasts that are swelling and firm, not sagging. Hack and Newton 1996, page 16. The Prophet Muhammad said, "A woman does not give trouble to her husband in this world, but his wife of the pure-eyed ones, huri girls, does say to her, 'Do not give him trouble. May Allah destroy you. He is only a passing guest with you, and it is extremely near that he will soon leave you to come to us.'" Mishkat al-Masabi, Book 1, Hadith number 62. The Prophet was asked, "Do we have sex in paradise?" He answered, "Yes, by him who holds my soul in his hand, and it will be done daman, that is the intercourse done with such shove and disturbance. And when it is finished, she will return pure and virgin again." Hack and Newton 1996, page 17. Al-Mikdam ibn Madakarb said, "Allah be well pleased with him. The Messenger of Allah said, upon him blessings and peace. For the martyr in jihad in the divine presence there will be 6 qualities. 1. He will be forgiven from the first moment his blood is spilled. 2. He shall see his seat in paradise and be protected against the punishment of the grave. 3. He shall be safe from the greatest terror of the rising of the dead. 4. He shall be crowned with the diadem of dignity, 1 ruby of which is worth more than the entire world and its contents. 5. He shall be coupled with 72 spouses from the wide-eyed maidens of paradise. 6. He shall be granted to intercede for 70 of his relatives," reported by Ahmed and Al-Tirmizi. Ibn Abu Afa said, "May Allah be well pleased with him. The Messenger of Allah said, upon him blessings and peace. Every man from the people of paradise shall be married off to 4,000 virgins, 8,000 slave girls, and 100 wide-eyed maidens of paradise. They shall all meet him within every 7 days. They shall say with their exquisite voices, no creature has ever heard the like before. We are everlasting girls. We never grow old. We are the purified women. We never grow sour. We are the ever-pleased women. We never anger. We are the sedentary ones. We never travel away. Blessings to him who is for us, and we are for him." Mentioned in Abu al-Shaykh in Al-Azama and Al-Bihaqi in Al-Bath and Al-Nashr. Those huri girls are virgins forever. According to one hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, when the Muslim man finished having sexual intercourse with the Virgin of Paradise, she would automatically return a virgin girl again. The Quran said that no human being or jinni had ever touched those virgins. They are not even human beings. They are sublime creatures created especially for sex and entertainment of the Muslim males in paradise. The Quran described their beauty in various ways. They are as beautiful as diamonds and have large and beautiful eyes. Because the Arab men love the women who have large backsides, the Islamic books described in detail the buttocks of those virgins. One peculiar thing about the Paradise Virgin is that she would neither menstruate, nor defecate, nor urinate. She will not remove her feces and urine through her anal and vagina as the case of the woman of this earth. Whatever she ate or drank, it would come out of her body as sweat. Her sweat smells like musk. She cannot become pregnant either, no matter how many times the man has sex with her. Having those crazy ideas and fancy promises in their minds, the young Muslim mujahideen are always in a great hurry to die or blow their bodies in smithereens and go to paradise to enjoy those virgins and the rivers of wine. In conclusion, Dr. Hassan understood that Islam allows the man to commit adultery in many subtle ways and forbids the woman to do the same. Why is polygamy halal and polyandry is haram? Why is one immoral sex practice allowed and the other immoral sex practice is forbidden? Both sexual practices are immoral and evil, and as such they are supposed to be both banned and criminalized, as the case in other non-Muslim countries. That means Islam permits the men to abuse and rape their female counterparts under the pretension of halal sex, which sanctions by the Quran and supports by the Prophet hadiths and deeds. Chapter 27. The Mock Wedding. The cruel punishment of his late wife and his deep reflection on the so-called lawful sexual relations through which Islam permits Muslim men to have sex with women created serious doubts in the mind of Dr. Hassan. He has never seen Islam in that way before his reflection on those evil ways of raping women and underage girls, even if they are still small children. He concluded that no religion in the world would allow its male followers to have sex with women without the sanctity of the marriage bonds except Islam. Moreover, no other religion would allow the man to have more than one wife at the same time except Islam. Moreover, no religion gives permission to its followers to rape their captive females or forcibly have sex with their female slaves except Islam. And no religion would permit an adult male to have sex with an underage girl except Islam. Dr. Hassan knew the marriages of children who have not yet reached the age of puberty is a common practice in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and other Muslim countries. He even remembered cases of Saudi children who were as old as 10 or 11 years who had been brought to the hospital where he was working as a physician with copious bleedings in their private parts due to sexual intercourse. They had been married to men older than their fathers or grandfathers. Those children had not yet developed into womanhood. Each one of those victims had tiny vaginas that could not accommodate the large penis of the evil grown-up man who raped her under the pretension of child marriage in Islam. Dr. Hassan also recollected the case of the Yemeni child who copiously bled to death due to having sex with her adult husband. Therefore, he lost respect for the founder of Islam due to his evil teachings on marriage, sex, and adultery. He concluded that all the so-called 6 lawful sexual relations between Muslim men and women are nothing but lawful adulterous relations that meant to give men the right to use and abuse women for their selfish animalistic desires. Dr. Hassan's doubts, instead of leading him to look for the truth somewhere else, it led him to think of killing himself. He doubted the truthfulness of Islam and concluded that there is no God governing the universe. How God could give men the right to practice such evils against women? Many Muslims, when they doubt the truth of Islam, they become atheists. Instead of turning to Christianity and Judaism and try to find the truth in those heavenly religions, the doubting Muslims automatically reject them as inseparable from Islam. In other words, they unconsciously believe that all 3 religions are from the same source. If one of them is proved to be wrong, then the other 2 are false too. But this fallacious way of reasoning always leads to a false conclusion. Dr. Hassan, like many Muslims before him, has fallen into the same trap and has become an atheist. After doubting the veracity of Islam and the existence of God, Dr. Hassan concluded that his life became meaningless, especially after his wife was caught in the very act of adultery and cruelly punished by the Sharia court. He is thinking no one is going to respect and love him anymore. He has no place any longer in any Muslim society. He cannot return to Sudan and start a new life. Wherever he will go, the scandal of his wife and her stoning to death shall follow him. When those ugly suicidal thoughts crept again in the agitated mind of Dr. Hassan, Dr. Nadia and her husband Sami once again approached him at the critical time in his life and suggested that he should leave the Muslim world and immigrate to the West. They even suggested Canada as a land of good opportunity for a successful medical doctor like him. Immigrating to the West has never entered the mind of Dr. Hassan until his good neighbors have suggested it as a solution to his seemingly insurmountable problem. Before that, he concluded there is no place for him in society anymore. However, the bright idea of Dr. Nadia and her husband Sami is the last ray of hope that Dr. Hassan found himself holding to it. He gladly accepted the idea and asked them to advise him in how to immigrate to Canada. He told them that he does not want to spend any more time in Saudi Arabia or return to Sudan. He wants to go to a Western country and start a new life. Although the idea of his Good Samaritan sounded exceedingly promising, when Dr. Hassan tried to put it into practice, it turned out to be almost impossible. When he visited the Canadian embassy in Riyadh, he has been told that the waiting period if he applied for an immigrant visa would be between 12 to 18 months. How could he hide himself in his apartment for such a long period of time? His good neighbors, Dr. Nadia and her husband Sammy, are leaving soon the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and returning to Canada. Even so, the kind Canadians decided not to abandon their heartbroken neighbor until they would find a solution to his insurmountable problem. However, when they learned about the difficulty of immigrating to Canada in short time, Dr. Nadia and her husband found themselves helpless in the case of their desperate and abandoned neighbor. At the same time, they found it difficult to wash their hands and leave him to kill himself or die of sorrow. When all doors of hope were closed, Dr. Nadia suggested an idea and shared it first with her husband. At first, Sammy strongly opposed it, but after a second thought and a little pressure from his wife, he accepted it. Dr. Nadia knew that Dr. Hassan could obtain a landed immigrant visa in short time if he married a Canadian woman. To put the brilliant idea into practice, Dr. Nadia and Sammy have to disclose their hidden secret to their desperate neighbor. They have to inform him that they are not true husband and wife, but they are real biological brother and sister. Moreover, they have to reveal to him that Sammy has an Ethiopian wife and 2 children in Canada. In addition, Dr. Hassan has to know that although Dr. Nadia and Sammy are pretending to be husband and wife, they have neither got married to each other nor have any false marriage certificate. They just lied to the Saudi embassy in Canada that they are a married couple, and they had believed their words. The embassy never asked them to prove their marital relationship and issued to them the 2 visiting visas. Most important, they have decided never to mention that they are illegitimate children and unwittingly got married and had a baby girl together. If Dr. Hassan believed them and accepted their story, then Dr. Nadia suggested that she would marry him just on papers and help him to immigrate to Canada in short time. And when they would reach Canada, Dr. Hassan and Dr. Nadia would file for a divorce. When the good neighbors disclosed their hidden secret to their lonely neighbor and told him about the quick solution to his insurmountable problem, Dr. Hassan believed their story and gladly accepted the good plan. He thanked Dr. Nadia a million times for what she proposed to do for him. He found it difficult to believe that any mortal human being could make such a great sacrifice to help someone who was not related to her in any way. The first step in executing that secret proposal, the good neighbors told their desperate neighbor Dr. Hassan to travel with them out of Saudi Arabia to another Arab country. Sammy and Dr. Nadia entered Saudi Arabia as husband and wife, and most likely in any airport in the kingdom their names would show up in the computer as a married couple. Therefore, if during their exit, it appeared that Dr. Nadia Ahmed married Dr. Hassan Yasser while she is supposedly married to Sammy Ahmed, then she would be caught, tried, and stoned to death for marrying 2 men at the same time. In Islam, polygamy is halal and polyandry is haram. In the Muslim world, it has never happened that a Muslim woman married 2 men at the same time except one woman. It is a case of a Sudanese woman who deceptively married a wealthy Saudi man while she was still lawfully married to a Sudanese man. Her 2 husbands knew nothing about her dual marriage. While polygamy is legal and encouraged by the Quran, polyandry is the greatest crime in the Muslim world. Polyandry is a form of polygamy in which a woman takes 2 or more husbands at the same time. It was her Sudanese neighbors that living in Saudi Arabia who discovered her polyandrous dual marriage and informed the police authority. Immediately, the polyandrous wife was arrested, tried, convicted, and stoned to death on a Friday afternoon. After that, never again anyone heard that a Muslim woman practiced the abominable sin of polyandry anywhere in the Muslim world. Accordingly, Dr. Nadia, her brother Sammy, and Dr. Hassan decided to travel to Dubai and carry out their wonderful plan over there. They went to the Arab United Emirates Embassy and applied for 6 months visiting visas. On the following day, they obtained their visas. A week later, they flew from Riyadh City to Dubai City. Shortly after their arrival, Dr. Nadia and Dr. Hassan got married according to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of his messenger Muhammad. Their marriage contract has been conducted by a recognized religious imam in a mosque. As a woman, Dr. Nadia is not allowed to enter the mosque while her marriage contract has been signed by her brother Sami and her husband Hassan. Sami is her wali guardian and Hassan her groom. In Islam, the woman is not allowed under any circumstances to sign her marriage contract. According to Sharia, a woman is utterly incompetent to enter into a marriage contract either herself or for another, even though her guardian should authorize her to do so. The Sharia requires that the marriage contract should be signed by the father of the bride and her groom. If she has no father, then her brother must sign it. In case she is neither father nor brother, then her uncle should sign it. In the absence of any male relative, then the judge of the Sharia court would sign the contract as her male guardian. Accordingly, Sami acted as his sister's guardian and signed her marriage contract with her groom Dr. Hassan. The Canadian brother and sister have not informed Dr. Hassan that they are Christians, but pretending to be Muslims. Notwithstanding, the marriage has been done only on paper, but there is not any sexual relation between the newly wedded couple. After that, Dr. Nadia and her pseudo-husband Dr. Hassan went to the Canadian Embassy to apply for a spouse visa. They have been told that their applications would not be accepted unless they supply proof that their marriage is genuine. The evidence could be wedding photos, restaurants bills, movie theaters tickets, and honeymoon places that they visited together. Without those tangible pieces of evidence, their applications would be rejected. This is because the immigration authority had discovered there were many mock marriages made by immigrants to fool the government of Canada. There were cases of Indians got married to their sisters and brothers to bring them in spouse visas to Canada. Worse than that, some Egyptians bribed some Canadian hookers and streets girls and sent them to Cairo and Alexandria and made them have mock marriages with their brothers and uncles and then brought them as their real husbands. But such impossibly to acquire proofs discouraged Dr. Nadia and her brother Sami and led them to think of forsaking their desperate friend and fly back to Canada. But they know that they have already planted the seed of hope in the bleeding heart of Dr. Hassan, and if they would abandon him at this stage, he might kill himself. To solve such difficulty, Sami suggested that Dr. Nadia and Dr. Hassan should go around the city and visit many places of entertainment and gather some pieces of evidence to support their applications. The newly wedded couple followed the wise advice of Sami and went on a tour around the cosmopolitan city of Dubai and took many photos together. They even traveled to Abu Dhabi City for a faux honeymoon.